Daf Yomi, Tractate, Bava, Batra, page 41b, part 2, with the words Hahu Gavra. The Gemara relates that there was a certain man who resided in a loft in Kashta for 4 years. At the end of that period, the prior owner of the house came and found him there. The prior owner said to him, "What do you want with this house of mine?" The possessor said to him, "I purchased it from so-and-so who purchased it from you." The possessor came before Yehoshua, who said to him, "If you have witnesses who will testify that he from whom you purchased the house resided in it, even if there is testimony that he resided in it for only 1 day, I will establish it in your possession. But if there is no testimony to his having resided there, then I will not establish it in your possession, and it will revert back to its prior owner." Rav said, "I was sitting before my uncle, Rav Yehoshua, and I said to him, 'But isn't it common for a person to purchase a house and sell it immediately during the same night? It is possible that the seller purchased and sold the house without witnesses who saw him residing in it. And I saw that Rabbi Yehoshua opinion was that if the possessor said to the claimant, 'The one who sold it to me purchased it from you in my presence,' this claim is deemed credible, since if the possessor wanted to, he could have said to the prior owner of the house, 'I purchased it from you.'" Rava said it stands to reason that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehoshua, as the Mishnah 41a teaches. In the case of land that comes as an inheritance, one is not required to make a claim as to how the land came into his benefactor's possession when one's ownership of the land is challenged. This indicates that it is a claim that he does not need, but he does not need proof that it had been in the possession of his ancestors. The Gemara raises the inference from the Mishnah, but perhaps he does not need proof and does not need a claim. The only reason that the Mishnah mentions that he does not need a claim is to clarify that this does not fall into the category of a possession that is not accompanied by a claim. Therefore, one cannot infer from the ruling of that Mishnah what the halacha should be in this case. And if you wish, say instead that although the inference from the Mishnah is correct, it is not relevant to this case, as the case of a buyer is different, since he would not throw money away for nothing. The fact that he purchased the house indicates that he must have ascertained that the seller had the right to it. A dilemma was raised before the sages. If the seller was seen in the house, what is the halacha? Is this sufficient proof that he had purchased the house? Abaye said it is identical to testimony that he had resided there. Rava said this does not constitute proof, as a person is apt to survey land and ultimately not purchase it. The Gemara issues a ruling concerning the establishment of the presumption of ownership. 3 buyers combined to establish the presumption of ownership. If one purchased a field and sold it to another, who then sold it to a third party, in total, the 3 of them worked and profited from the field for 3 years. The third one has established the presumption of ownership. Rav says, and this is the halacha, only if they all purchased the land with a bill of sale. As a result of the bill of sale, the prior owner will know that it is not the case that each of them worked and profited from the field for only 1 year and abandoned it, which would explain why he did not bother to lodge a protest. The Gemara asks, is this to say that Rav holds that a bill of sale generates publicity, but witnesses do not generate publicity? But doesn't Rav say that with regard to one who sells a field, in the presence of witnesses that the field is later seized by the creditors of the seller, the buyer collects from the lien property, and the seller had sold to him, to be reimbursed for his seized field. If not for the fact that the sale in the presence of witnesses generates publicity, those who later purchased land from the seller would not have been aware that the property they are purchasing is liened to the first buyer. More answers there with regard to buyers.